So I hope everyone is having a great day, and welcome to our Mommy's Love Facebook Live. And I just wanted to touch on this subject because I've been talking with a lot of new moms lately, and moms that have already given birth and moms that are pregnant. And someone actually said something that kind of triggered the reason that I'm doing this post, and it was because she had a great pregnancy. It was actually a baby after a miscarriage, so she was really like anxious about this baby, couldn't wait for this baby to be born, had an amazing pregnancy and was ready for birth. Labor was natural, wasn't induced or anything like that. It came on very steadily, and everything was going perfect until the actual birth. Some stuff happened during the birth which was kind of like traumatic. The birth was really long, like the actual labor was actually really long, and this was obviously their first baby. So she had her baby, went home and started experiencing a lot of anxiety and stress and worry and a lot of different things going on, which made breastfeeding really hard. So she was kind of like, I don't understand why this is going on. It's not postpartum depression. That was the first thing she said. I just had a little bit of a challenge with breastfeeding, and my birth was kind of like a little bit difficult, more than I had expected. But anyway, we're getting through it. We're now breastfeeding. Everything is going okay. Well, if you're in that situation that you've just had your baby and you don't understand why there's all these emotions going on, why you feel anxious, why you feel stressed, why you feel worried, it may be because something happened during your birth that was traumatic, and what you're experiencing is postpartum depression. And postpartum depression comes in different levels. I don't want to call it levels, or different doses, should we say. Just basically different, because everyone experiences emotions differently. Basically, that's the bottom line. So it doesn't mean that postpartum depression means that you're like in bed all day and you don't want to get out, you don't want to look at your baby, or you're having thoughts about maybe doing something to your baby. It doesn't necessarily mean that. Yes, that is postpartum depression, but that's something very severe, a very severe stage of postpartum depression. Postpartum depression can be as much as that you feel anxious, that you feel worried, that you feel stressed out, that you don't feel yourself. Basically, that is where we can kind of like categorize postpartum depression setting on. Okay. And a lot of people, I just find it weird how a lot of people label it as different names. Oh, I just have the baby blues, or like I said, oh, I just feel a little bit worried or a little bit anxious because I just had my baby. Obviously there's going to be changes going on in your life, and you're emotionally you're going to feel a little bit different because you just had a baby. But it doesn't, you don't have to just brush off that term postpartum depression, because I think people just feel scared about it. But you shouldn't. You should be open about it. And I read so many amazing posts on Facebook about people being real about it, about people getting raw and opening up about how they feel and what they've experienced. And I think the more we do that, the more we're going to normalize that that's very normal to feel postpartum depression. And it's usually, like I said, triggered by something that happened in your pregnancy or in your birth, especially in your birth. And it can be, postpartum depression can be triggered by you having a C-section. And people just think now that C-sections, because they're done so often, they're just a regular thing. So it's just a regular birth. You just didn't deliver vaginally, and that's it. That's the only difference. Well, it does come with certain things that can be a consequence of that type of birth that you had. And one of those things can be postpartum depression, because believe it or not, C-section is also considered as a traumatic birth. It's something traumatic that is happening to your body. You're being cut open. The way that your baby is brought out, is traumatic for you and for your baby, because it's not the way that most births are, which are vaginal births. And hey, of course, the ideal thing would be for all of us to have amazing home births, with a doula or a midwife, no intervention of like medicine or anything like that. But of course, that's not going to happen to every woman and in every case. There's lots of different things that arise, which mean that you have to have the type of birth that you have to have. And I'll make a little snitch in there. One of those things also is lack of information. Knowledge is power, mommies, okay? The more you know about the different options that you have in regards to birth, the better you can recover after birth, the better labor you have, the less it's going to affect breastfeeding. So it's really, really important that you are informed about that, because in the hospital, they're not going to tell you, look, this is your option and this is your option and this is what's going to happen and this is what's going to, no, they're just going to go, you need to have this done, and that's it. And they make the decision because they have to get you out of there quickly because they have more patients coming in. So your well-being in regards to long-term or breastfeeding or anything like that is not really that important. The important thing is that you survive, that you make it, that the end result, your baby delivered, is what they get. So that's kind of the way that you have to think about it. And it's really sad, and I give kudos and credit to nurses and physicians and OBGYNs because they have a lot of work to do. Their workload is huge and they do the best that they can, but they're not necessarily looking out for your particular best interest, okay? So just always bear that in mind. It took me a long time to understand that, but now that I have, I'm more informed in the decisions that I make, okay? So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I'm gonna do another video in regards to the type of births or birth options that we have nowadays and how they directly affect breastfeeding, okay? But what I wanted to make sure that I bring today is that postpartum depression is very real, okay? And it comes in different severities, okay? That's what I want you to understand, but don't just disregard it or get scared by the term and be like, oh no, I just have the baby blues or anything like that, because the thing with postpartum depression, it can start off as something very something that you may not think is a big deal, like a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of stress, but if you don't pay attention to it, it's only going to escalate and then it could become something very severe. So it's very important that after you have a baby, if you're feeling any of those emotions, that you really pay attention to them, that you talk to somebody else about them, see what they think, what their take is, your husband, your loved ones, and then go see your OBGYN and let them know what's going on to see how they diagnose it and what you should be doing about it, okay? So that it's taken care of right away. Because the other thing too is if you don't take care of that right away, it is going to affect breastfeeding. It is going to affect your relationship with your baby, and it affects it because there's so many emotions going on in your body that are triggered by hormones and different things that are going on, and a lot of those things can prevent your body from being in milk production mode. Okay, so that's why it's really, really important that you don't just brush off or disregard any feelings, like negative feelings that you have after your baby's born, because they can and they will, trust me, they will interfere with your relationship to bond with your baby and to be able to breastfeed your baby, and for you to be able, for you and your body mentally and physically to recover after you've had a baby. So super, 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 super important, okay? And I'll talk about those type of births in another video that I'm gonna do tomorrow, and how you can tackle them, what you can do in preparation if you know that you're gonna have one of those births, so that you can be informed. Remember, really, really important, in regards to you having a baby, in regards to pregnancy, in regards to breastfeeding, knowledge is power. The more you know about what's going on with your baby, about what you have to do, the better you will have in regards to your outcomes and things like that. Okay, mommies? Besitos, bye-bye. See you guys later. Bye, mommies.